Here we are.
All right, we're here. We're live.
Yay.
Finally. Hello, everyone. I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amberlicious.
I'm Simple Sarah.
And we are Untitled Nerd Network, brought to you by Infinity Flux out of Hickson, Tennessee. And this is Season 8, Episode 12, The Spoiling Dead.
Yay!
We're reviewing The Walking Dead. The episode is called The Key. And obviously, this will be full of spoilers.
Spoilers!
Absolutely full of spoilers. We're going to be talking about this episode in very minute detail because there is a lot of stuff in this episode that I enjoyed and I really want to talk about.
Everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in
We're
this
going to
one.
talk about all of it. Is that good?
First off, there were three main things. Well, really, yeah. There were three main stories in this episode. Number one, Rick and Negan.
Oh, yeah.
Number two, there was Simon and Dwight. And number three, there was the Hilltop with a new addition to the show. And I'm going to make my predictions here in just a little bit. But I'm going to say that this episode went so far off the comics path.
Lord, didn't it, though?
Not even funny. This whole little one-on-one exchange before the attack that, you know, with the zombie guts and the weapons and everything. The little one-on-one with Rick and Negan never happened in the comics. At the end of this episode, Negan was taken captive by Jadis from the
I know.
from the junkyard
I was
colony.
Like, what on earth?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Negan was never captured at all in the comics until the end of the war. They never had this little meeting with Simon and Dwight. I don't even think Simon is a comic book character. I know Dwight is, but I don't recall Simon. If he may be like another character with a different name, but yeah, a lot of this is very different, and it's hard to make any kind of real prediction, especially now because the show has just gone so crazy in regards to like taking liberties with the. You know, with like the comic, the original.
Well, I mean, didn't they say they were going to do that?
Oh, yeah, but holy crap.
I
I
mean,
mean...
This is way crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, you know, liberties here and there, maybe changing some plot points, who dies, that kind of thing, but...
I mean, here's the thing, though. They probably weren't planning on changing as much until they had to kill Carl. I mean, they had to, because Chandler was leaving the show.
I think it was more like they had fired him. He didn't leave.
What?
When did you hear that?
Why would they fire him?
Yeah.
Like, why?
His dad was running his mouth on Twitter, and there was like a big contract dispute or something, and then AMC fired him and wrote him off the show like right before his 18th birthday.
This is the first I've ever heard about that.
Oh, yeah. It was like hardcore news for about 6 months. People were
Yeah, I never saw that.
People were writing
petitions. This is the first time you've even mentioned it to me.
People were writing petitions talking about how Scott Gimple should be fired because, and that's how come they like changed his position.
Okay.
And
anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever. Not that it matters. Regardless, they had to kill him off, no matter what the reason he left or he got fired or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean the show is really kind of going off.
And you told us that he played a very important role in the comic.
Oh, he did. Amazing.
So now they gotta make up new stuff.
They are.
That is true.
Now they gotta make up new stuff.
They are definitely doing that.
Yes, they are.
But I guess that's how you keep fans.
Yeah. Some of the stuff I don't agree with, some of the stuff I do. Who am I to run the show?
I know, but you know, you're a big fan of the comics, so.
But
I see where you're coming from.
we've got this deal. I want to go ahead and knock this out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
The big addition that we had in this show is this lady shows up very well dressed, has glasses. You notice that?
Yeah.
That's something you don't see a lot of.
No.
Glasses typically means well-to-do, established.
An established community is what that means.
Yeah. Well-tailored clothes.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Now, the people that were running with her had kind of a savior look to them. But they were clean. They were well-kept and everything.
Yeah, I think they were just kind of wearing, like, not really armor, but uniform, maybe?
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
So...
Like they were supposed to be dressed that way.
They almost look like teenagers to me.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. They did look younger.
Very
Like,
young.
significantly younger.
So, they show up and basically... Like, what was the deal? Like, they wanted...
They wanted
records.
I guess they had a record player. I don't know.
Well, this seems like this wasn't like a true bartering mission. This was more like a break the ice mission.
Yeah, that was a break the ice.
They were there to kind of give them the better end of the deal. Like, hey, we're going to hook you guys up. Trust us.
Just trust
It seems like a really good way of doing things. And I'm going to go ahead and make the call right now that we're not going to see these people until probably the end of season 9.
Yeah.
Or the beginning of season 10. If
I
even
agree.
that. I could be wrong, but I'm calling it that this is the first we've seen of the Commonwealth. I think it's crazy that they're introducing them so early because they literally just introduced the community like 2 issues ago in the comics. Like 2 months ago.
But please explain to our viewers why you think that.
Because I think, like here, the only reason I think there's a possibility that it might not be them is because last episode they ran into that ham radio station. And one of the big things in the comics was Eugene was on that radio and he started talking to a woman from the Commonwealth, and it took literally 30 issues or 40 issues of them talking back and forth before they finally became comfortable enough with each other to say, hey, come see my community.
Right.
They just showed that ham radio station last episode, and to show what could possibly be our first glimpse of people from the Commonwealth, this episode,
But maybe it's just foreshadowing.
or maybe the ham radio is just a red herring,
It might
and
be.
they're like, we made y'all think, and now...
Do you think there could have been like somebody watching them at that house, maybe? I don't know.
No. I mean, what I was expecting to happen was Eugene was gonna
obviously they knew they were somewhere, so they knew they were.
Yeah, they knew.
Had to be watching.
They had to be watching them.
Yeah.
Because they knew exactly where to. I mean.
And does that have to do? You said something about the trap when Maggie was looking out. There was like that trap or something. What was that?
Oh no, that was like, what was it?
I don't know what the hell that was.
Yeah.
That was from them though.
That was from them.
It was like a message, and was like, "Hey, come meet us at this place." And then they went and met them, and here we are.
And she gave them a book of how to make windmills and
that was a very convenient plot point.
everything.
Because here's the thing: in the comics, after All Out War is over, it time jumps a couple of years, and they've got windmills, and they've got a blacksmith place, and they got this and that, and they never really explain.
Well, maybe that was their explanation then.
They never really explain in the comics how that stuff came to be.
Yeah.
Just people had knowledge, people figured it out. This is it's a really good way.
And maybe we don't hear from them again.
How
Maybe that was
far-
just their way of explaining it.
Oh, she
How
said
far
we'll be
away-
back.
Well,
Is the Commonwealth from them in the comic, or do you know?
Wait, what?
Are they close by?
No,
They're not.
we're talking like a state and a half over or something like that.
Why,
Okay.
So why would they travel that far?
exactly, if that's the Commonwealth.
Especially if they haven't used the radio in this.
Yeah.
I
Think
guess
about how
that's
far they've all
kinda
explored. Think about how far everybody has explored so far. And we know the hilltop.
But she's the leader, though, to be that far away.
That's what kind of
That
throws
just-
me off. If this lady is the
Wow.
leader, why is she traveling with her?
And I wouldn't be no offense, but I wouldn't be traveling with 2 teenagers.
Right?
I don't know. That was kind of funny to me too.
This lady could also be like a goodwill ambassador. She may not even be the leader.
Right.
She may just be like, hey, I'm here to tell you, a very well-spoken individual, kind of like Jesus was for the hilltop.
Mm-hmm.
Just cool person, easy to get along with, knows how to talk to people.
So you don't get any bad vibes from them at all?
No.
Okay.
I mean, they didn't really put off any, but that to me that doesn't mean anything.
Here's the like in the comic books, I don't get any bad vibes from the Commonwealth, but at the same time, I didn't really get any bad vibes from the governor when he first popped up either. Well, I did because I knew he was coming.
Yeah.
From the comic books. But like the CDC guy, Jenner, the doctor that was living underground in the CDC and all that. Like, you never really got any bad vibes from him. Everything was going good, and then suddenly the power went out and the place was set to explode. That's
why you can't really trust, if somebody's putting up good vibes or anything in the zombie apocalypse.
I don't really know what to think about this, but I'm going with this is the first we've seen of the Commonwealth. They're going to be back in 2 years.
That's
Maybe.
what she said. It might be a while before they're back. So
That's true.
I wouldn't even be surprised if we don't see them again until like the end of the conflict with the Whisperers, and then suddenly out of nowhere they show up to save the day when everybody's pretty much forgotten about them.
Yeah.
Of course, we all know how the internet's memory works. People will be talking about this until they finally pop up again.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, you remember when people were talking about Morgan every other episode? When's he coming back? When's he coming back? And then he finally popped up again, and for one episode, and then it was, when's he coming back again?
So
Yeah.
when do
For
the
another-
Whispers come in now? Since, if that's the Commonwealth, it's all kind of like
Well, it's like you
out
said.
of order.
She said that she'd be back. It might take a long time. So we probably won't see them until after that. I mean,
I'm just
Here's the
wondering
thing.
when
They
we
never
see the
mentioned-
Whispers, though.
They never mentioned their community. Really, they didn't
That's
give it a name or
true.
anything. They didn't say where they were from. They didn't say when they'd be back. Now, we first heard on the radio in the comics just after the time jump. So, issue-wise, us first hearing about them on the TV show is not far off from where we heard about them in the comic books. It's the equivalent of maybe 5 issues. So,
Mary's in the chat. She says, "Hey."
hello, Mary. So remember also, if you haven't subscribed, we are giving away a Nintendo Switch to one lucky subscriber out of our first 1,000. We have about, 86 to go at this point?
We were at 9:14. No,
Ooh.
Yep.
9:16.
84 to go then.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We are gaining subscribers very quickly.
Oh,
If you-
Brittany's back. Hey, Brittany.
If you have not subscribed yet, now would be a good time because you literally got about 3 weeks, I think, before we hit
if
1,000.
we keep continuing to grow like we are.
Yeah, we're growing without trying now, so
Yes.
that's a good thing. Thank you for all of our new subscribers.
Yes.
Really means a lot.
Yes.
Sorry.
Continuing on into this, that's about all I can say about this whole Commonwealth thing. I really think these guys are from the Commonwealth.
Okay. Yeah, we're ready to move on to a different subject.
Yeah. Y'all want to talk about Dwight and Simon first, or
Yeah, let's talk about them.
okay? Because I know we want to top the finale with it.
I was just I was wondering where they were going when they were in the truck and they first started talking. He wanted Dwight to confide in him. I was just wondering if maybe that was a trick at first, and that's why.
It was a trick.
Kind of got some
And
hardcore mixed
Dwight
signals.
I did.
Didn't fall for it. Like, he's like, I'm gonna tell this guy shit.
He's smart.
And-
Dwight's not stupid.
No, he's not by any means. And then Simon, pretty much leads him to believe that they're just going to leave everybody alone and go on their own. And then, so he makes it look like, he throws a cigarette butt and catches Negan's vehicle on fire. And, oh, we didn't find anything. All we found is blood. And Simon's like, well, now we're going to kill everybody at the hilltop. And that's not what Dwight expected a bit. No. And he's probably thinking, I really fucked up.
Four episodes to go at this point.
He probably could have killed Simon right then and there, couldn't he? Did he?
Probably.
He probably could have.
He has no clue what's really going on right now.
Is a nice guy. He really is.
I can see that.
And
he's doing what he has to do to survive.
He's really too nice.
Yeah.
Because he still gives people the benefit of a doubt. So, yeah, he is doing what he has to do to survive. They talked about that.
This whole thing with them, I honestly expected this episode to end with Negan coming out, bashing Simon's head in, and then basically looking over at Dwight and saying, hey, unless you want this same thing to happen to you, come over here and kiss my ass, basically.
Instead, they left his ass.
Yeah.
They left his ass.
Not only did they leave him, but he ends up asleep in the passenger, or knocked out, in the passenger seat of a car that we thought was driven by Rick.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's who ran him off the road, and they were fighting, and Rick even set Lucille on fire. Oh my God.
Ooh, Rick got a hold of
I can't believe he did that. I can't believe he did that. I was like, wow.
That went a lot further than I thought it was going to.
Let me light your fire, baby.
No.
Couldn't help it. Couldn't help but make that joke. Come on, baby, light my fire.
So I guess he's not going to get to hurt Simon just yet then.
Here's the thing, I did not get a friendly vibe at all from Jadis.
No. Especially when you have a gun held up to your head. No.
I don't know. Let's see, what's Brittany talking about?
Georgie wanted information, so could she be a leader of the Whisperers? I don't read the comics, I don't know if they have a leader. Here's the thing, the Whisperers don't wear good clothing. Okay, really quick. What the Whisperers are, in the comics anyway, is there was an issue, believe it or not, the first issue I ever got a letter printed in was the first appearance of the Whisperers, which was pretty neat. A couple of guys were out from the kingdom on horseback, and they ran into a really big herd of walkers. Well, they jumped down over this little ledge, and they're like in the Lord of the Rings, where they're hiding from the ring wraiths, the horseback guys, and they go up underneath that tree, that little ledge. They're kind of hiding like that. And these walkers come walking by. Well, the dudes are sitting there just waiting for them to pass, and they hear them freaking talking, whispering to each other. And they're like, the walkers are talking now. Come to find out, the walkers weren't talking. What the Whisperers are is they're a group who they have a animal-like pack mentality. They don't really have physical belongings. They basically have an alpha, a beta, and then a hierarchy, but they run like animals. Basically, the men they hook up with each other indiscriminately. They just go from place to place. They wear walker skins all the time. They set up camp every so often and tan new skins to wear. They walk among the walker herds as protection. They walk among herds as protection while wearing walker skins. So this group that we see today is not. It doesn't strike me as the Whisperers. The Whisperers don't have vehicles. The Whisperers don't have nice clothes. The Whisperers are very dirty.
Yeah, and these people had shit.
And they can do that without getting infected?
Yeah, in the comics.
Yeah, because there's no open wounds. We discussed that last time.
A lot of people are saying the reason Father Gabriel was so sick is because he wore walker
you
guts.
You get hit by a twig.
Well, I mean, if you do, you do.
Yeah.
I don't know. That just seems kind of out there to me.
What bothers me, like, I don't get, that's one thing I do not get, is how they can wear the guts or they can wear the skins or whatever. Because you ever, like, put hand sanitizer on and then find out the hard way that you have just a tiny little cut on here that you didn't know about. You can't see it, but by God, you feel it when you put some alcohol on your hands.
Mm-hmm.
That right there is why I would never douse myself in walker guts.
I would never do it either, but there's brave people out in this world.
I mean, I guess you have to do what you got to do to survive.
Which is crazy.
But yeah, the whole deal with Simon and Dwight.
Which we don't. Going back to that for a second, we don't know how powerful the disease, Walker disease, or whatever you want to call it, is. If it can actually seep into a tiny cut like alcohol can. I mean, we don't know.
Well,
we really don't.
What? I don't.
Yeah, but you open. But like, if you have it over your face and stuff, I mean, your mouth like.
Oh yeah, but I wouldn't dare put it on my face, man.
I don't know.
Did they put it on their face, or do you know?
What?
The Walker stuff. Did they put it on their?
In Fear the Walking Dead, Nick, he had blood all over his face.
He sure did have blood over his face. He probably didn't do
Getting
crap,
in your.
though.
But see, you don't know how contagious this is because
really don't.
You remember, in 28 Days Later, you remember towards the end when the dad like looks up at that dead body and the little droplet of blood hits him in the eye.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And that was all it took.
Yeah.
I would think that it would be that contagious, but
maybe not. Mm-mm. I don't know. Anyway, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Let's continue on.
But yeah, the Dwight Simon thing, I really don't see Simon surviving through the end of this season.
No. Yeah, I'll be surprised if somebody would kill his ass.
Well, see, I thought maybe the rest of the saviors are probably gonna like be like, no, we're not following you. Like I was kind of almost.
No, that's the thing. They're easily led.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because they've. I know you're a big Negan fan, but they've been manipulated by him so much. It's not gonna take much for them to fall in. Mm-hmm. Especially when he was like, "Well, Negan might pop back up."
They know he might not be dead.
I was like, really?
That's like when Rick said that he used people. It's true.
Here's, before we get into this whole Rick Negan thing, what do you think Jadis is doing?
Brittany said, thanks for answering. Had to write it since you briefly said so.
Hey, we'll probably end up doing like some separate Walking Dead videos like during the off season. About like, previewing the Whisperers and what might happen with the Commonwealth.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
I'm going to continue trying to do some comic book stuff as far as the comics are concerned. Maybe me and Sarah can do a video on the compendiums.
Yes.
I guess, yeah.
Sarah's like, oh yeah, I am reading those. But yeah, that whole thing, Dwight, like, I'm not even to the point now where I'm like, well, in the comic books, because I have no freaking clue now at this point.
That's true. It's all just out of whack now.
This whole thing, but yeah, the whole thing with Dwight and Simon never happened in the comics. Negan was never taken hostage. Negan and Rick never had their little back and forth like this. Mm-hmm. It's just, what do you think? The end game. What does Jadis have in mind with Negan?
I don't know. Because here's the thing.
It's hard to read her.
It's hard to read her, yes.
Yeah.
But she's also usually willing to listen. I mean, she may be set in her ways, but she'll listen.
she also thinks that Negan is the one who gave the all clear to killing people.
And I think if he tells her, she might believe him.
They might go back after Simon.
Yeah.
Here's one thing. Negan might be a lot of things, but he hasn't struck me as a liar. He pretty much is going to tell you.
He shoots the shit straight.
Yeah.
I mean...
Like, regardless, if like the whole thing where Negan told Rick, hey, you know, I'll make y'all only give 25% and
he meant
all
that.
this stuff. He was 100% down with that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it still was a crappy deal, but he may be unfair, but he's consistent.
He's straight up.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's never really lied to anybody.
I mean, when he said, "Hey, you know what? You're partly responsible for your kid dying," he meant that.
Yeah, he wasn't doing it just to get under his skin. He was legitimately saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, this is what I think. But yeah, this whole little thing between Rick and Negan this episode was really the highlight. Besides the new people coming in, they had a really solid little skirmish. Lucille.
Yes. And Rick started it again.
Yeah, Rick freaking lit Lucille on fire.
I can't believe he lit her on fire.
And then, see, here's the thing.
I just couldn't believe it.
Congrats on the letter being printed. Was Jadis following Negan? I'm sure Jadis was around, keeping an eye on him, just seeing what was happening.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I think she wasn't on her own. I think Rick let her in on it. I think, like,
she's wondering.
He was supposed to honk the horn. Changed his mind. I don't know. Maybe he let her know, hey, I'm going to be watching for him here and da-da-da. And
do you think Jadis could have been in the back of the vehicle and we just didn't know it?
Maybe she was.
Huh.
Hiding. Just in case Rick was to get caught and she'd be in the vehicle.
Maybe.
Huh.
I don't know.
But yeah, that letter actually was the first letter in Walking Dead 130, and I got another letter printed this most recent issue, 177.
Brittany says, I hope Jadis hands Negan over to Rick so the jail is finally used.
That will happen.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we
say
think
it will.
so.
I can't make any predictions right now, but according to the comic book,
and maybe that's what will happen.
Yeah.
Because he'll be like, I didn't do that. That was Simon. I didn't da-da-da. Explain himself. And then she just turns it over to Rick.
You think Jadis might be one of the main reasons, besides Carl, that Rick doesn't kill Negan?
Maybe.
Like, she's like, hey, you know, there's been enough freaking people getting killed. My entire community was killed. He's had people that killed. You've had people that killed. Your son's been killed. And that'll be what
I could totally see that.
Yeah, snaps Rick back to... Because right now we have Bearded Rick, who has lost someone close to him.
Freaking mind again.
That is not a good combination.
It's not.
Because you remember in the...
Crazy Rick.
Mm-hmm.
You remember right after Lori died, in the next episode, Rick just went insane and just went through the prison, just cleared out the whole prison. That's what he was doing just now.
Mm-hmm.
Going after Negan. Just going crazy.
He threw that.
That crazy bearded
Oh,
Rick.
God.
Grieving bearded Rick is what we're gonna...
You don't want to call him crazy. That's nice.
It is, the longer that beard gets.
Bearded Rick. That's the nice way of saying it.
Yep, the beard theory. Remember he used to have the broken window theory when they first moved to Alexandria?
Yes. Freaking forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because when Negan found that tape recorder, or the camcorder, and it had the video of Rick on there, all bearded and dirty and everything, and Negan was like, damn, I do not want to mess with this guy.
And then here he is now. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. I do not want to mess with this guy. No, you don't. There he is now, man. That's all I got to tell you.
In 2 seconds.
But yeah, the whole Rick and Negan thing was really, really fun. We got to meet a new community. Enid, I see.
That's my next thing.
Her.
Her. Enid.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something about Enid.
I like. It seems like she's kind of mellowed out a little bit. Like she's really kind of calmed down from the beginning of the episode to the end, because she was kind of talking to Michonne up on the wall right at the very end, and she seemed like she had
chilled a little bit.
Yeah, at least taking a little bit of time to kind of get the heart rate down. All right, we're gonna take it easy for a minute. But she's still
Maggie's face though. I was like, ooh. Or no, it wasn't Maggie's face. It was Michonne's, wasn't it?
Michonne, yeah.
Yeah.
And Michonne told her to step back.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's grieving too.
Yeah. One thing you noticed in The Walking Dead is different people grieve in different ways.
And that's true. That's true
You
about
have
Ralph.
Rick, who's killing everybody. Enid, who wants to kill everybody. Well, pretty much just everybody wants to kill everybody. The answer to death is more death.
Yeah.
That's kind of how they roll.
Yeah.
Anything I'm missing in this episode?
I don't think so. I think we covered everything. We talked about Dwight and Simon. We talked about those people coming to the hilltop.
Yep.
Didn't Maggie give the Savior jobs? She was talking about giving them quarter rations like everybody else.
That was last episode.
Oh,
It was in the
it
previous
was in the preview.
So
Okay.
Yeah, she's like.
Because I was real confused. I was like, didn't that just happen?
No, she's taking them out of the cells for like an hour a day under armed escort. And
Yeah. I know. I was really confused. I was like, I thought that happened last episode, but we're watching it.
But ratings for this episode, 1 to 10.
Oh, I'm going to give it an 11 because Rick set Lucille on fire.
I agree.
Yeah. Oh, that was ballsy.
This episode does get
That was ballsy.
This episode gets an 11 because I can appreciate that happening, even though,
I know that hurts your heart
I
a
just
little.
can't believe it happened.
Yeah, it's very shocking.
Look, here's the thing.
Very shocking. I mean, the whole just...
Negan, here's... I know I've said this probably once or twice in our previous reviews this season, but Negan has a legitimate love for this bat. He named it after his deceased wife, so the bat is basically the embodiment of his wife to him.
Oh, yeah, well, he was even sweet-talking it when he put it in the car.
Yeah, and...
So you look good today, baby.
Because what had happened is Rick was a high school gym teacher, and he would have like kids over with his... Negan, I'm sorry.
I was really confused for a second.
Negan would like have his students over at his house, and they'd play ping pong in the garage. And so his wife ends up talking to him, and she collapses. Well, come to find out, she has terminal cancer. And you also find out during the story that Negan is having an affair with this mistress that he's had for 2 or 3 years. And he finally decides to break it off with the other woman and tend to his wife. Well, then when his wife dies of cancer, it just so happens to be right in the middle of the outbreak. She reanimates, and he ends up leaving her as a zombie in the hospital and just leaves. And he ends up getting like somebody to help him out. And then over the course of the next few months, he ends up making the bat and naming it Lucille and all that. I mean, it's a really... I mean, overall, it's a sad story. He just went about the apocalypse in a different way. That's why I like the character so much. Like, I do. I love him to death. Devasso.
He asked if we liked the picture he sent.
Oh, yeah, that was the one that you commented, or you replied to.
I was like, oh my god. He face swapped Lonnie and I.
I saw that and I was like, what the crap?
I know, it was weird because it fit perfect.
I did. I looked at it for literally a day and never noticed anything wrong with it. And when you commented and was like, man, that's crazy or that's messed up, I was like, why? It's just us sitting there. And like I said, I was like, did he do something? Did he like write something on the picture or something? And I'm just sitting there looking, and then it just occurs to me, like, oh, wow, something isn't right here.
Oh man, it took me about 30 seconds.
It took me looking at it about 4 times over the course of 2 days.
Because I was like, what? Something's wrong here.
And
I was like, holy crap, he face swapped us.
The book Georgie Gives Maggie is the key to the future. Does that have anything to do with the other groups? No. Here's the thing. In the comic books, when the time jump happened, after All Out War, and then next thing you know, there's the group, the Kingdom, Hilltop, Alexandria, everywhere else. They all have these windmills. They have blacksmith places. What do you call it? A smithing oven or whatever.
Forge or something?
Forge. They have all that stuff.
Oh, my nose.
But they never really explained in the comics how they came about all that. And, you're just led to believe, like, oh, this person knew this person knew this. But how would your average lawyer or how would your average sheriff's deputy know how to create a blacksmith forge? Or how would they know how to make a windmill?
You don't know what they were doing before the apocalypse started?
Sure.
No, but I mean...
You don't know how big this community is either.
No, I'm talking about Alexandria and them in the comics. None of the people in these communities I was led to believe knew how to make this kind of stuff. But
maybe
they may
it was
have.
all Eugene.
But this...
He did it.
This here...
We didn't even see him tonight.
No, not tonight.
This thing that they've got going on with this book, I believe this is just like a quick plot point, number one, to establish this group is friendly. Number two, to whenever they do the time jump here in a few episodes, and we end up 2-3 years in the future, and they have these windmills turning, and they have the fires of these forges going, and all these crops and all this stuff that's really working out. That's just where people aren't like, well, how did they know how to do that? There you go. You've got a book of knowledge right here that really ties the plot together. Mm-hmm. That's really the biggest thing. And it kind of teases this other group on down the road. So that's kind of where I'm going with it. And we are not guaranteed that this is the Commonwealth. It's my guess. Mm-hmm. But as we've seen, the show's really kind of throwing curveballs at us.
That'd be crazy if this was a whole other group that we didn't even know about.
Like
it wouldn't surprise me because they threw the Junkyard group in there and they weren't in the comics and they actually played a semi-big role in it.
I mean, they have. Jadis has got freaking Negan.
The role's really big now. But I'm talking about, they were just a convenient plot point of betrayal there for a little while. That was it.
Mm-hmm. Well, we should probably wrap this.
All right, yeah. But yeah, straight 11s all the way across the board.
This was a really good episode.
Yes.
Also, like to say, I did get my book, The Art of Peace, in the mail today. That was the one that was featured in The Walking Dead.
The other one I watched.
Yeah, I did have another one. Amber watched it.
I suck.
It'll be okay.
It's fine, though. We got a new one.
But yeah, let's see, what else we got going on this week? Tomorrow night, we will be doing a live recap of Iron Man 3. We'll see if the movie's any better this time around because it's historically been my least favorite Marvel movie. But we're going to watch it and we're going to review it. We're going to see. Look for us somewhere in the neighborhood of about 10 p.m. tomorrow night to review that. I'm trying to think of anything else. Where's that schedule when I need it?
It should be right there.
Iron Man 3, we have the X-Files season finale. Going to be happening Wednesday night. We will be reviewing that live at 9 p.m. And then we're going to have other just random TV, gaming reviews all the other nights of the week. And then we're going to be doing Thor Dark World Saturday night around 10 p.m.
Yay.
And if Sarah wants to come over randomly one night, we will play Alice the Madness Returns on Xbox 360. That'll be like an unannounced surprise when it happens.
Alice the Madness returns. Yay! All right, y'all.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and wrap. We'll see everybody later in the week. We'll be back tomorrow night doing something. Who knows what? Oh,
no,
Iron Man.
We're doing Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
It's who
I
knows
keep
what.
getting sidetracked. Sorry.
Okay.
All right, well, anyway, I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amberlicious.
I'm Single Sarah.
And we are Untitled Nerd Network, brought to you by Infinity Flux out of Hicks, Tennessee. And this is The Spoiling Dead, covering The Walking Dead, episode The Key, Season 8, Episode 12. This has been Spoiling Dead number 11. We might have seen the Commonwealth for the first time tonight. Who knows? But anyway, we're going to go ahead and play out with our lovely little theme song.
Oh, yes.
And we'll
Who
see.
does our theme song?
Huh?
Radio Cult.
Yes, Radio Cult.
The name of the song
the song is actually called "Shoot the Dead,"
Shoot the Dead.
is very, very appropriate. We're going to go ahead and play that out. Everybody have a good rest of the night. We'll see you tomorrow night for Iron Man 3.
Sweat